Good morning, folks. It's 8:22 a.m. on the third month, 15th day, 2025. There has been some horrendous chem today. Many of you have sent me images of these deployments all around your country, over the sea, all the way from New Zealand over here, which I can definitely point out something odd here. Is there's a few layers of the atmosphere here getting sprayed. Hey, so actually, I want to zoom it out a little bit more. That's satisfy me. Yeah, so I'm going to go over some of this chem. I'm going to go over the cyclone that's going to form off the coast of Western Australia. That's now had its data changed again because as windy flip-flops from showing you stuff and not. But the satellite images mimic and all this clearly show me this being done. So I'll issue an official heads up. We're watching something. Look at this here now. I want to show something. I'm trying a different color I kind of liked for certain things. Was this one for this image? This is a different color than this. Would you agree? And this is a different color than this. So I would have to say the ice crystals are refracting the light differently, or bouncing it back into space a different color. Would you agree? Yeah, you have to. So why is this? And this one here is going under that. This one's coming over that, right? And this one here, when it's in motion, because of this EMF here, you see this here, these squiggles, Mr. Squiggles here. It is just standing waveforms there coming down here, which has caused a block for flow over here. It will make things difficult for it to overcome and forces a lot of this action to then drop its rain right around through in here as the day will go on. Another thing I'm noticing is if you get a ruler out and you measure the centers of each one of these plumes, it's like that something has been dropped at a pre-timed place to have a certain amount of reactiveness with the atmosphere or catalyzation to make water droplets form and coalesce enough to be a droplet big enough to have a cloud form. And they seem to stretch toward each other. So this also forms a line of electrics. This becomes electrical through that whole mesh stuff. Well, that was unexpected to do. Right, let me get rid of that. And there's a lot of chem around. Some of the worst deployments I've seen of all was in this part of the world here of Australia. It's a vast amount of area has been covered by the sickness mix here today. Yesterday didn't look much better at all. So I mean, yeah, the toxicity of some of this stuff going across the ocean, it can't be good for sea life. It just can't. There's no way it is. There's no study saying that acid rain is good for coral, right? You got this big chemtrail here, but if this stuff here is falling out down on the path of that jet plane, it's going to condensate a stripe. So I can't say that plane was spraying anything. I say it's made a contrail that has lasted longer than it should, so it's chemically nucleated. And the mess of stuff that I see, you see these streamers going over the top? This is very high atmospheric deployments and making ice crystals that then fall out. You know, if you got a cloud up here, it's going to fall out the particles. And a jet goes underneath it, right? Jet plane comes here, goes along, and then it will make a trail just from the heat of the engines. But the fact that it's lasting as long as it is telling me that something different is going on in the sky itself that's allowing these condensates to persist as long as they are. Yeah. So I don't think that everybody says it's the airplanes doing it, but they're just part of the manufacturing process. Oh, excuse me a minute. Oh, don't do that to me. Here we go. That's what I'm after. No, we don't want Pakistan. Oh, man. I'm not happy with that. Okay, we'll try this again. Yeah, trying to reach over a microphone and grab this and do that, and I did that. All right, as you can see, the fallout from the chemical catalyst even here, right? It might be very thin. It's streaming across, Now look how white that one is. And that would have been a jet that went by a while ago, and it didn't thin out. The shadow here is telling me the sun was at this angle from up here. Right, coming down. Mr. Squiggles will show you. I don't know who named it. That's a very bad squiggle. It's north of that line is where the sun is. So you can see the shadows. This is a shadow too. And shadows create thermals as well. All right? Pulsate much? There's got a land feature here that's round. So it could be nucleating something in here. A fog along the ground. So I won't call that a chemtrail. I see something natural. And I'm going to call it that. Right? The big plumes is something came along here. Look at the streamers. And any jet plane that goes through there will make a persistent contrail. It has to. Like these did. Heavy mass of stuff because this was a flight corridor. You know? Do I have to mark each one of these chemtrails? Are you getting the idea now? And it is a chemtrail. I've proven that. When they say chemical catalysts or things like other chemicals to deploy in the sky to reflect sunlight, that makes this a chemtrail. It's a trail. So don't you nitpick me when it's obviously you was wronged about something because the news lied to you. You're going to find out the news has lied to you about a lot of things. A lot of things. A lot of things. Look at this over Adelaide here. Right, we'll go right back to you. Look at this crap over the ocean. I don't need to mark that one, do I? Right here. See that crap? Like home plate looking thing. These deployments out over the ocean. Over the ocean. Yeah, let me put this back up to volume. It should be. I was listening to music before I started. Look at that. Do you think that's a natural cloud formation? Since when do clouds do this? How come it's not puffy, white, and happy? How come it's the geometry? How many directions of the wind are blowing here and here? Right? How many Mr. Squiggles could you draw? I could draw a swastika there in the sky with this. Was this a cent sign? They trying to take some money off you? Each one of these will have a thermal effect on drafts, updrafts and downdrafts. And it look like a hand. The triangle in here, something's deploying. I'm not making these lines up, they're on the screen right here. So you can't tell me they ain't using a strato cruiser. At some point I'll have to go over different vehicles of chemtrail deployments, of suspected isms, of tests done from the past. And then I'll show you how HARP was handed off to the Navy and Army and Air Force ROTC program at the University of Anchorage, Alaska, and was never shut down. It was just taken out of one hand and handed into their officer training corps, where they then get advised by the same people. You see all the chem I'm showing you here? This is a crime scene. This is toxic air, and it's going to lead to some badnesses down here. But my area of concern is up here in the tropics, over here, where I expect a chemicane to form right about here. You see the parentheses all drawn in the sky, and there's a very, very defined path going toward the coastline here that's easy to see. And I put some graphics up showing what I would think is the path of a storm that hasn't formed yet, like I did with Alfie. I did the same thing as I'm doing now. Is I go over the deployments and I show you what's possible. And this area here is the live zone, where it looks like if a come ashore is going to happen, it'll be right between here and here. It's where the corridor, because that's got to spin into place and come down to it. And so I'm looking, where's the cross flow coming in? Where's this guy setting it up? And the path is like this. And I know that this X-Smith over here has many devices on it. Yes, many at the Holt Base facility and other facilities there. Look at the evenly spaced plumes here, right across off the shore of Western Australia. This is of interest. It shows a lot of different formations of cloud, like these you would think would be cumulus clouds, but cumulus clouds will be on the low deck. But these are square. This looks like a mushroom. It's a Super Mario mushroom. If we tap the bottom, we get special powers. Mario was tripping balls. See the even deployment here, like 4 on a dice, and each one of them's like an explosion looking thing. As I zoom right in there, you see the formations. You know, I can zoom that further. Yes, I learned a trick. I'm liking, oh, Kinte. And we get even higher zoom. Higher, higher, which means stop in Turkish. These are chem bombs, evenly spaced plumes. And then this one is 4. So they're trying to create a certain thermal or wind to push a viscosity and then turn this at a pivot. And so that cloud mass moves in that direction. And they'll start doing this on the outside edges of some of these storms to create the convections needed. So I'll show you some of that now. Where am I at? Oh, we're at the chembomination of the corner. Look at this shit here. Would you look at the chemtrails here? That's sickness mix, man. A very defining moment was in 2016, in October. I seen a deployment that I'd never seen before, other than on films of Operation Popeye and other things that deployed Agent Orange in the sky on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And the deployment on this date here, at the 25th and 26th here, was it the next day? Oh, I've got December. It's October. Excuse me a moment. Look at this. This was a very defining moment in my life. And when I saw this, and I saw these deployments in your sky, I did a short video, and I said, oh my God, look what they could do to us. And I clicked off. I was in tears, as I'd seen this before. And then the next day, they moved the mess. This mess moved over this direction here, right? And they bombed more on top of it. And so I noticed the move. See that there? As they moved it toward the city center. Whatever was in that first mix got redeployed on. And they moved the mess of stuff right over here, right over these people here. And people started dying 7 days after that initial deployment that I seen out here. And that was the day I decided, I sold everything I had, and I started going around the world telling people were being killed. And if it wasn't for the support of my work, I'd never be able to continue to do this. And it's been my mission ever since. My stuff be damned. Look what they do to the animals. And it did. And then they made an excuse and called it thunderstorm asthma. And I see another case of thunderstorm asthma brewing now, as I looked at your imagery today. And I see these deployments again over the skies of Australia, over my oceans. I recognize this. I recognize this mix anywhere. This is the sickness mix. And so those who are sensitive to breathing need to stay inside a few days as a redeployment happens here. See it coming from out at sea, right here. Sorry about the movings around. But I'm very upset seeing these deployments. I fully intended to take a few days off. How could I sit here idly by while my friends are breathing this? How can't? It's just a data capture for you. We're going a little tighter on that. I can get tighter. But right now it's still loading some of these screens. You see how hazy it's gotten. It's got an aluminum hydroxide look. So let's see if there's any bicarbonate readings picked up in the... I would suspect aluminum bicarb, because they get the factor of the aluminum and the bicarbonate to make a reaction for aluminum hydroxide. It causes a milky look to the sky. But that's the same type of cloud deployment. Carpet bombing you. I'm very concerned. Look who came along here in a line off the coast of Tasmania. Somebody's got to warn you about this shit. They may kill me one day, but not before I show you guys how to spot when they're killing you. Evenly spaced plumes. Evenly spaced plumes. Go ahead and measure this yourself. Something came along in the line here, and here's dots. I'm going to go just underneath the main deployments of whatever the hell is effervescing in my sky. It looked like a skeleton there, don't it? And rib bones. But it's there's deployments that do that as far as defense has it. Yes, flares, deployments and stuff they could be practicing. I do not know. I just know no soldier would do that to his home if they knew what was going on. And the EMF over here is got to be rattling people's bones, taking their energy, ringing your ears, giving you a headache, making you feel like something's touching you so you don't even want to be touched. Look at this here. in this area here. What's this? That's a chem bomb, man. It's 1, 2, 3 huge deployments. Massive deployments. You got a whole bunch of triangular objects pointing at this area here where this dot is. Would you say there's a ship out at sea here? You know, with an emitter on it, making a scalar square of energy? I'd say so. Well, it is rocket science. And their rocket science is all commercials to sell rockets. Look at this shit up here. I'm not even done yet. With the deployments I've seen over Queensland setting up their storms, you have a long, lengthy, wet period coming to the far north of Queensland. And if from Townsville up to Cairns is definitely copping huge totals over the next 3 weeks. It might even be into 4 weeks. It has to go that far ahead. I can only go to what moisture is going over to all the way to Brazil. And that's what it's saying. And it would take a long time to move some of the moisture they're moving as summertime in the northern hemisphere happens. Wintertime dynamics in the southern hemisphere have to be taken into account when you're moving stuff along the equator and through the tropical moisture belts. You notice how all these start at once, streaming off. So some kind of pellet or something that this other one's going over the top of, right? That lighter streamers. So I'm not saying that's a ship there. It's a deployment. It could be a vessel floating in the sky. A drone with a balloon on it. It could still be a drone, remotely controlled. So really toxified the land here. And you see how that's going the opposite direction of that? That's going to make that highly electrical. Yeah, the electrical potential in the molecules of whatever chemicals they picked has definitely supercharged. Look at the square come up over the military area here in the last frame over here in Yeppoon. I only know that because I went there. See that? That's a weather mod move. Look. Let me get a couple shots of this to zoom it in. Yeah, the military base over there is definitely active. Let's get a better shot. Let's do the zoom and show you all the plumes. And it's affecting this coast. Was that a mustache? A water buffalo out there, big one. My voice is almost gone, folks. I just got to give you this forecast and the heads up. It is the chem that I want to report on the most. You see these squares here? It's that military ground. And they've done 2 of them. The main thing is here. Right there. Right there. You've got a device. There's no doubt in my mind. Look at the squares here, these bombs off the coast. See them? See the chemicals? They're chemically attacking you too. Yeah. Wow. I hope we don't have to get a law meeting. I can't speak about this anymore because I'm going to jail that day. You ain't shutting me up. You're going to lock me up. They're going to lock us down anytime they want to. Treat us like prisoners. Fine. You ever see the movie Attica? Don't you watch it? Your toys in the attic have watched Attica. Look at the square forms to these. Like this, all along here. There's a weather modification move. Those are scalar squares, but when you look inside of them, you'll see the dots, the formations, like that in the center of that one there. So the weather modification is real. And you send EMF along this line here, right? And along the top line north of here, and all the moisture will go in there. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on right now. And this penis insula over here has set the tone. So I'm going to kind of run through what they say is going to happen. They keep moving things. So once again, I got to check something to see if the honesty level is which one. Because they just changed ECMW just as I went live. And it's saying it's cruising west. I don't see that happening. I don't think they want to worry you guys yet. Well, that's not accurate. Right. I seen this morning. Yeah, I'm not playing games. I take my own data. So I load my what the fuck book here. And mercy on you. Yes, I've done my own homework here. I've pulled up some maps. This is the chem. Feel free to share it or don't. That's up to you. Right, I mapped this morning. that showed this main mass that was way out here underneath, like that's Bali right here, right in this, that's going to appear right there. And this is the area they're turning, and it's going to flow into. So there's a lot of flow coming across these islands right now. As it moves toward this area, this is where I expect it to farm, when they'll say, uh-oh. And then this area is being prepared for cyclonic flow, excuse me. Uh-oh. I've turned videos up by mistake. So I had to look at here and did the corridors of where it was likely to come in. And I'm thinking here, but this is a cyclone mover, that's a cyclone mover. The possibility of it coming in through this corridor is high if this beam comes down and shaves it from here. And we won't know that till we get closer to the event. And they was looking at like 6 days from now. Yeah, some of this data I have is done. And I was looking at your tropical flow here, and we had that data in our mind of what's occurred on the coast, and it says you're clearly going to have an event through here as the flow line that feeding dead storm in Western Australia has to stop and send some stuff inland. So I'm expecting some heavy rains for some of those folks along those paths there. As we attempt to get an honest total here, it's not looking very good for the funk in Queensland up here. With some of these totals that will be exceeding 400 and 500 mils. Yeah, on the 10s. Expect these totals to rise, by the way, because the event ain't started yet. You're only looking at about 2 days before the non-stop streaming of moisture begins over the tops of you. See, add this one in here. So we're going to give you a shot at seeing what they want you to know. I wanted you to know about this. Okay, just sit down. This just is going to come from long, steady rains with a couple big tendrils in between, coming because Mimic says so. Mimic has spoken. All this water, a lot of it's coming your way from here to there. And each one of these squares takes about 3 days to clear. So you're looking at about 9 days of water just from here to there. And the EMF line clearly spelled out what they did that I showed you in the clouds from the peninsula over here is clearly showing it. Those maps that I put up here are kind of accurate. They're going to play out because they usually do. I won't say nothing unless these maps match. Like the pulses that frame there I'm showing you shows this is a pulse. You see the separation boundary here and here. See that pulse shaving right here? It's going to cause this to do a loop. It's going to try to come out, form into a cyclone, and fuck off. It's going to do a weird loop. Has to. Atmospheric dynamics demand this. Yeah. And so that heads that way. So you got at least 1, 2, 3 heavy batches all along this coastline from here north. And then this here gets that coming south. So this is a wet time coming over the next 10 days for sure. And I guarantee you it's going to be 2 weeks of fucking wet. And nothing you could do about that except say no to the Paris Agreement. Say no to the Paris Agreement. It's cool to say no to chemtrails. It's cool to say yes to us breathing. We can't breathe because of this. Yeah, we can't breathe. You know, George Floyd is dead. Of course he can't breathe. They couldn't breathe very well 7 days after this deployment in 2016, did they? Did they? When people died. What a fucking shame. And then they lied about the skies, disguising lies, blaming China for something the USA funded. How dare they? Ooh, boom, 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 boom. 1,000 miles of chemtrails. 1,000 miles of chemtrails. Yeah, it's not looking good, folks. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Especially when they lie about the totals. It's just bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. They're going to make me do this, ain't they? Boy, I'm glad I keep my own data. I do. I have to. I have to keep my own data. Which one did I warn you at last? Yeah, when I gave you kind of a heads up yesterday. Don't be sending me this lie. It's bullshit. This document going around. Come on. That address there, and that thing there, and that phone call number they have on the top of their thing here, it yielded bullshit. Stop it. Stop spreading lies. And I suggest you leave such groups that do those things. Yes, 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 yes. There's my homeworks over there. Go look. I can go further. Yeah, I'm looking for the warning I gave yesterday, right? Of some of the totals I was seeing. Yeah, from the event around Melbourne coming. Yeah, that you got some stuff coming, but it was really this corridor here that was my main concern. And you can see that's like a 9-day total through there. Really, really heavies coming. Real heavies. And they're lying about stuff. I'm going to keep. That makes me want to show you more. Because they did this with Alfie. As soon as I say I'm going to go live, they change the data. See, the Can corridor through here between Townsville, they're talking. There's some of these places when I went in through here was from here to here, almost every one of them was over a third of a meter and going into a quarter of a meter as you went down towards Townsville. So we got a lot to look out for. Quite a lot. Quite a lot. This whole river of moisture is coming your way from this island here over. There's a lot of water up here, folks, in the world. A lot of the percentage of water has been decided that Oz needed a drink. To go in is a bit dusty out there, a bit of a dusty road. So I can run through what they say, but I'm seeing lies. And if I'm seeing lies, I ain't showing lies. So this is the heads up. Your big risk for the next couple days should be fair accurate, so I'll show that. And it's really all up here, as you see the beginning of the wet. And we're going to pick up some real quick, and I'm expecting this to be electrical, especially as you get down about here, where I saw a lot of that crossflow of that chem. See the turn? It's hitting an EMF wall. And then high, let's just spread that shit right out. That means they're bombing the hell out of you. That means this here, we should be able to pick that up if it's in 21 hours. Yeah, probably by 6 hours from now, they'll start bombing that storm south of that, and that'll stretch the tendril out. So that's how that can move. I expect more volatility along this particular pressure line, that 12. But the 14 also does it. Here, where this dip is, where a lot of the dynamics is going to mix. So it's very interesting that the geoengineering moves going on as people are digging out from one geostorm, they're planning another one. The fuckery never ends. It never ends. Yep. When the wind blows, the winds of change is going to be us. It has to be. We must say no to geoengineering. We must say no to chemical catalyzation of clouds. We must say no more, no more. Will Mother Nature be your whore? And if you don't like that word, do something about it. It seems like it's all up for sale and for rent, and Mother Nature don't get a vote when you stick a needle full of chemicals to pull some oil out of the ground. When you dig, and drill, something die. Here, have that in your artesian basin. Have a nice drink. You could boil a kettle in my son's tap water in North Dakota when he lived there. Yeah, he'd light a lighter. Hey, Dad, look at this. See the wet coming down? I don't see how it's going to get past that line of that base put out there yet. It makes sense. Go around and die. Goodbye. And split the flow again. A couple showers. Go into New South Wales. I'll show you Melbourne. You get a rocking time coming. I'm not going to take it too far up. I'm just wanting to see if some honesty's happening. No, that ain't it. That's about right there. Now I'm looking for a system to farm, and it's not showing. So I'm still going to make the call. I wonder if it's an invest area yet. If the rest of the world has acknowledging the existence of what the chem bombs just made out there. Let's have a peek. Oh, that's not the one. That's some of my USA radar data. We're not going there. I'll give some radar reading lessons of the USA website. Love Ariana, if you're ever listening to some of my work, I have some websites I'd like to pass you. If you're interested for watching USA. Now, it's not listed as an invest area. The only storm we have on the planet is tropical cyclone Jude. Here, let's see what her mimic looks like. See if we see any man-madenesses. Heavy surf coming South Africa. Actually, to Joe, the area is right on Cape Town. Anybody who likes that kind of thing, he surfs it. You got about 5 days. Not like the swells that you had in Alfie. I don't see nothing close. No, I don't see anything obvious, dude. It's nice. Hey, that's how I roll, man. That's how I roll. I don't think that's much of a threat to you over Madagascar. Yeah, what kind of gases are passing in this storm? They're hiding a cyclone. No, they're saying it's going somewhere it can't. So I'm gonna totally disagree. Well, they're saying something forms that day. Come on, bring home. It has to. Their timeline is way off. It's way off. No, that's wrong, man. Well, they told you a Saturday landfall on something that was a couple days away, and they were wrong. And I was telling you, no, no, no. Because my map from the second played out. When I draw one of those maps when they first form, like I did today. What's the wind? Catch it when it's around. It's not a USA cyclone, not a USA hurricane, not a hurricane, not a hurricane, not a hurricane. They're lying. They're fucking lying to you. It's almost like they want you to never be prepared. High, low forms. Yeah, don't freak out. That's just crust flu. Hey, that's going to definitely put the pipelines definitely going to be running at the end of the month. Bondi. Yeah, definitely. So that's where you'll go to have some fun. As we get closer to the date, I'll tell you for sure. We don't want everybody from the world coming down to your favorite surface spot. If somebody pointed out to me and decide, and if I could not do this so far in advance, it would be great. Nobody owns the world. Nobody owns the waves, man. The waves fucking own you. Because you're never in too deep until you're too deep. Yeah, well, don't ever say that to me again. Fun is for all. You don't own that spot. Yep. Bullies suck. Oh. You only have one chance to be an ambassador. But you have lots of chances to be a bastard. Right? Which one do you want to be? Yeah, I saw something on my messenger I did not like. So let's nip that in the bud, please. Yeah. So that's what's going on, man. It looks really, really fucked. My gosh, the chem today has reminded me of a past that I never want to see repeated. When I see the bombs like this, and I remember the past and what has come to pass from stuff like this as they descended over Australia and they aimed the plumes with the MF over a populated area, and people in Australia started dying. Within 3-4 days exactly of this image being taken, people were dying because of this, because of this, because of this, because of this. I am worried, very, very concerned. So take the measures that you see fit when the sky looks like shit. The sun will come out one day when we make the policy of spraying the skies go away. Say no to the Paris Agreement. Big love, peace. Remember, your silence is consent. Silence is consent. Complacency kills.